people who cannot sit at home, thank you so much for joining me. So this video is the second part of free things in Ontario and Toronto that you can do. The similar kind of videos are on my TikTok, and I have gotten so much positive feedback about all of these destinations that I decided to do 2 videos on YouTube. So I hope you enjoyed them. And before we head right into it, I wanted to tell you about something very exciting to me, that my latest book, and this is Ontario Road Trip Journal Weekend Getaways, has come out. It's officially on Amazon. It's about 100 pages, and it's the largest one so far. It's for the summer and springtime weekend getaways from 2 days to 4 days long. And there's 11 of them, and also the book has kind of shorter getaways just for 1 day. There are 20 ideas for that and some games. So for sure, check out my books, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Let's go. Okay, let's start with a really fun destination. It's called Stacked Market. Now, this is located pretty much downtown Toronto. It is, I want to say, about 4 years old. It's essentially a lot of these crates, the shipping containers that are stacked on top of each other, hence the name. Really fun place, free to enter. Right now, during the whole summer of 2023, there's going to be umbrellas up on the ceiling in one of the sections, and it's actually all about, it's an installation all about prevention of skin cancer. But overall, even if the installation is going to be gone after a certain time, it's such a fun place. Lots of art, lots of these cool crates have art, and inside of these crates there's tons of stores, coffee shops. There's a really beautiful flower marketplace. Highly recommend it. If you haven't been, you need to go, and even if you have been, there are always events happening throughout the year. The second cool and free place is Graffiti Alley. Now, this is again in Toronto. It is again downtown. It's about, I'd say, maybe 10-minute drive from the Stacked Market, and essentially it's from Spadina all the way to Portland, kind of parallel to Queen Street. So I'm showing you over here. It is a lot of graffiti. In some places the graffiti is not the best, but in most of the places the graffiti are very impressive, and it continuously is changing. So there's new stuff. This board I have not seen before. Over here is a really cool raccoon and a bird up on the top. It's on the ceiling. I haven't seen this before too, so maybe new, maybe not, maybe I just haven't seen it. I love anything with the raccoon and with the donuts. Very cool. Haven't seen this before too. This is fairly new, this installation of a phone. And this building, this is actually, it's been there for a very long time. Beautiful building with lots of fish. You gotta check it out. Number 3 place that is free and very cool is Milne Dam Suspension Bridge. This is in Markham. I'm showing you over here where it's located. On the Princess Street is the parking. It is free and there's usually space. So beautiful place, beautiful dam, gorgeous suspension bridge, very nice place to walk. There's tons of kind of hiking areas. There's a lake. You can spend honestly half a day to maybe a whole day both ways from that parking spot on the left and right. You can go and explore. Gairloch Gardens is in Oakville. Beautiful spot. Highly recommend. Try to park all the way, like the closest over there to the Lake Ontario. It's basically the closest one to all of the flowers. And here it is. When I was there, it was raining, and it's actually beautiful in the rain as well. There's a pond with a bit of a fountain. Essentially, it's a property with a garden right on Lake Ontario. So you have the Lake Ontario, and then you have this garden that's, there's a lot of roses, so they have a rosarium. If you go there a little bit later in the summer, so July to August, that's when the roses are blooming. Absolutely gorgeous, lots of different variety. Highly recommend if you're into gardening. But even if it's not middle of July or August, it's just a really beautiful park. They're gonna have different flowers, and it's just beautiful to explore. A number of ponds, and Lake Ontario is also very impressive. They also have some art kind of off to the side a little bit, like this is further from Lake Ontario. Definitely very cool art. Number 5, Danville Park. This is a park that's for plane watching. So I didn't know that this existed. This is in Mississauga. Very cool. You park, and parking is free. Visit is free, of course. You kind of look for the signs. It will tell you where to go, and right away you can see that like the planes are near. It is a bit of a walk. Very accessible, but it is a bit of a walk. I'd say maybe 5-minute walk, and then you have this cool paper plane metal sculpture. The highway is right there too. I also love the markings on the floor, very kind of artsy. They're definitely trying to mimic, of course, the runway. There's like the binoculars that you can watch through, but they're not working. But there's a really lovely skyline of the Toronto. There's a bit of information that you can read about, and of course the planes. Now, when I was there, some planes would come closer than the other ones, and I'm only talking about planes that are landing. The planes that departing, they go the other direction. I don't know what determines if the plane is closer to this park or further, but it felt like some of them would be very close and some of them would be very far. Yeah, as I mentioned, cool graphics on the floor. If you're into car watching on the highway, maybe you have a kid that's into that, it's a perfect place. A really nice park. The next, we're gonna go to Guild Park. So this is another absolutely amazing park that you need to check out. This also has an art center, so it's kind of a park and an art center. So the whole point, the whole idea of this park is that they have tons of old elements from the architecture of Toronto that instead of demolishing, they kind of brought it into this park. And over here we're at the art center, and you can see there's like some art out of the photos of the park, which is really cool. The art center is fairly new, 3 floors, definitely check it out. Over here is some information about some of the elements, again, that were taken from, I think this was Bank of Toronto, and it's great that instead of throwing this out, they have moved this over here for people to continue enjoying. A beautiful place for photos. There are always here weddings. I'm actually surprised there's no wedding right now, because it seems like anytime I'm there, there's a wedding, especially at this location. Greek columns, gorgeous. Also, there's a very nice park. If you walk further, you will see that there's a bit of an area where you can go and even see Lake Ontario. You cannot really go further because there's a danger because the cliffs. So you can see a bit of the chunk, but not a lot. And as I mentioned, there was a bride, so there was a wedding party. Really cool to see that, of course, and a number of columns all throughout. Amazing place, definitely a gem. Number 7 is St. Catharines Museum. Now this is located, I'd say about an hour and a half to 2 hours in St. Catharines. So we're going kind of further from the city of Toronto. And what this is it's kind of like a platform that you can go up and watch the ships pass by, because I think this is a lock, so they need to kind of wait for the water to level out before they can go further. There is also a museum that's free to enter. You can check it out as well. Here's a bit of information about that chandelier. And the reason why we were in the museum, because there's a volunteer on the platform that they told us, oh, come back in 20 minutes, that's when the ship is coming. So over here, ship is finally coming. Very entertaining to see. You get to be very up close. By the way, you can find out when the ships are arriving. If you go onto the St. Catharines Museum Facebook page, they actually post daily what times the ships arrive. So make sure to check it out so that you're not kind of waiting around, but you're there exactly for the ship. Though there's a lot of people on the platform, so I would come at least 10-15 minutes earlier to kind of get your spot in there, because a lot of people know about this place. Port Colborne, beautiful destination, very unique, and I suggest you definitely check it out. So specifically, Canal Side Restaurant, this is your starting point. If you put that into Google Maps, arrive there and get a table, the tables actually they have inside and they have it outside, right across from this bridge. I definitely suggest the outside one, so hopefully it's not a rainy day. You get to see this bridge going all the way up, and over there you can see the ship. It's the same ship that was from the previous St. Catharines Museum. It's the same canal. So it arrives also at certain times during the day. Again, probably best to check out St. Catharines Museum Facebook page so that you roughly know when the ships are arriving. But we were there in the weekend and asked the locals, when do the ships arrive? They said they arrive, if you're gonna be there on the weekend, you're gonna see at least one ship for sure, like midday. So you can definitely just take your chances. The food at the Canal side restaurant was actually amazing. I got a burger with like feta. My mom got fish. Both of the items were really yummy. It was a great way to just, relax, spend time, look at the ship pass you by, talk to the locals. It was a very cool experience. This ship, by the way, was carrying those those white windmills. And I've never actually seen them even, moved anywhere. So this was really cool. The next destination is 13th Street Winery. Now this is also kind of close to, it is in St. Catharines, but it is a little bit closer to the city, right? It's a really cool winery. You have to go. There's a bunch of things happening. This was from Canada Day, so they had a bit of, musicians. Usually they wouldn't have music, but what they do have is they have the most amazing bakery. They of course have wine tasting, but going back to the bakery, they have these tarts, butter tarts. Their sour cherry that I was just showing is probably the best tart I've ever had. You have to try it. It's amazing. But everything they have in there, we've tried a number of things because we've been there so many times. It's really good. And another thing that's really cool about this place that is free is they have a whole kind of art gallery that is outdoor and indoor. So over here I'm showing you the outdoor gallery. It's mainly sculptures and they're all kind of very cool. Like for example, this one is hay ball. And then you realize that it is kind of next to a hay ball, but it is a metal sculpture. So there's a bit of a cool, humorous element to these. I didn't read about all of them, wish I had. We were kind of rushing, but definitely spend time reading about them and enjoying the outdoor sculptures. And there's a winery in the background. This sculpture I loved because this is Canadian leaf, maple leaf, kind of floating in the air, so depending on how windy it is, it moves more or less. These guys, I'm not sure what they were. And over here we're heading for the inside museum. Again, it was free entry. These were 3 different artists. It's actually a fairly large space. 3 artists from OCAD. They're fairly new graduates. Very cool art. It was very nice people working there. We chatted. It was an amazing experience. I highly recommend this winery for lots to do and some yummy things. Friday Harbour Resort is another place that you can go in for free. This is not gated because a lot of people think that this is gated community. It's not gated community. You can go in, you don't have to spend money, the parking is free, you can walk around. They have a gorgeous harbor front with tons of boats. Very unique in my opinion, especially if you're coming from Toronto because we do have a harbor front, but it's much smaller. Here's the main promenade with their condos, and there's a number of shopping. There's a kind of like smaller stores with clothes. There's of course food, so they have a gelato place. They have a bunch of food trucks, and they have a number of restaurants. Over here I'm showing you actually when you go closer to the beach club restaurant, they have kind of behind it, there's a little small beach that is also open to public. It's just very small, so if you're in the middle of the weekend, it's probably not going to have a lot of space. You can rent kayaks, but make sure to pre-book them because they also get rented out. And over here is the pool. Pool is not available publicly, and that's only for the owners of the property at the Friday Harbour. But over here we are at the beach club restaurant, and it's amazing. I highly recommend it. Definitely not free, of course, but if you would like to eat in here, great place. We had calamari, burgers, and dessert. Everything was exceptional, and you get to have this view of the boats kind of passing you by. Absolutely amazing. But best, of course, to pre-book this restaurant. Okay, next up we have the Princess Sodalite mine. I've done a number of videos on this. I'm gonna link it down below. It's a whole experience. It is a free experience, so it is about 2.5 to 3 hours north of Toronto in Bancroft. And the thing about this place is, of course, it's a nice store, but they also have a rock farm. So to go in there, you just kind of go in there, free entry, and you are in the middle of all of these rocks. Now the point of this is that you can bring your own hammer. Make sure to I think they provide the goggles, but I usually bring my own. Make sure that you also are wearing closed-toe shoes, and you can start digging for gems. And they're literally gems. Like over here I found a number of amethysts, and there's just different kinds of rocks. I found tons of Sodalite because that's the name of the place, of course. As I understand, these rocks come either from Bancroft or from like even more north, Thunder Bay. And you can find some absolutely amazing things, and you can definitely crack them. Now, the reason for cracking, of course you can, if you like something, you don't need to crack it, right? But if you would like to take something, but you don't want to take the whole thing, you maybe want to take a section of it, that's what you need a hammer for. Because to get stuff out of this farm, it's $2 per pound. So that's where it becomes not free, but it's still a very cool experience. And theoretically, you do not need to buy anything. But of course, I suggest that you do, because this is a really cool experience, and you would probably want your gems to be, you know, to remember them and to have them. I have tons of rocks from these guys. They're on my balcony garden, and they are very pretty, and they shine so nicely when it's sunny. Here are all of the things that we have found that we liked. And that was our experience of the rock farm, but also the gift shop is amazing, so make sure to check it out. Ontario Clean Water Agency in Wasaga Beach. I love this place. It's free entry. It's really cool. Somehow not a lot of people know about it, but it's very unique. So parking is also free. You arrive over here and you climb a little bit. It's a very small hike, and you are seeing this gorgeous view. Now this was of course in the winter time. I think it's beautiful any time of the year, but what the winter time does not show you, that there is lots of sand underneath all of that snow. And over here I am showing you how it looks in the, I think this was fall time or early spring, and yes, lots of sand dunes. You can definitely take some beautiful photos in there. But yes, gorgeous place. You can definitely do picnics. There's a bit of a hiking area, and yeah, gorgeous view. So last but definitely not the least is the Gairloch Gardens. This is fairly far. This is at least 3 hours west of Toronto, and it's sort of kind of where Sarnia is. But what is absolutely amazing about this, and you have to go here, we were there at the end of June, and this is the view. The garden is gorgeous, and there's a whole field of lotuses. I could not believe my eyes. I've never seen anything like this in Ontario. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to check out the first part of this video. It's going to be linked somewhere over here. And of course, please subscribe, like, and share, and I will see you next time. Bye.